What's up, guys? This is Jay from COI, and we found out today that Andrew Yang qualifies for New Hampshire. So, Andrew Yang is back, and I, for one, could not be more happier. First off, Yang is one of the few people who I actually root for. Like, if we did rank poll voting, it would be Bernie number one, and either Tulsi or Yang number two. And two and three are really close. Sometimes it'd be Yang, sometimes it'd be Tulsi. There's certain parts about Yang's UBI that I kind of disagree with. I think that it should be more of a speculative tax instead of a regressive tax, and so on and so forth. But I like his message, and I like that he's worrying about a 21st century problem. I love the message that he brings out when he says, look, go into your factories. You're not going to see brown people. You're going to see machines. And he's right. In every aspect of blue collar work, automation is destroying it. Um, I was at Walmart, of all places, and I saw this machine that cleans the floor, scans the products, and is also one of those things that you can kind of scan, to check prices. It's amazing. It does three people's job at once. Um, but it's also taking three people's jobs. And that's what Yang is talking about. And there's no way that we're going to get these big corporations to back down from that. They're going to continue to make these robots, and they're going to continue to automate jobs away. So I think the UBI is a great plan. Um, and to credit Yang for another thing that he fully educated me on was circumcision. I had no idea how dangerous circumcision was, but it was one of Yang's things. Uh, Before we get all excited and rejoicing, I want to go back to December when Yang was bothering the DNC. He was begging, he was pleading, do more polls. I need better polls. I should be in the debate stage and come January. And they wouldn't do it. They wouldn't do it for many reasons. One being that they're scared of Andrew Yang. He gets in there and he creates this disruption. The Yang Gang is true, and they are full of power, and they could cause a lot of problems for a Joe Biden or an Amy Klobuchar. And even a Buttigieg, because let's be honest, like Yang is a cooler version of Buttigieg. Um, the thing is, though, is we finally got those polls from December and leading up into the January debate, and lo and behold, and I think this is something that needs to be talked about, Yang and Klobuchar were both at 4%. Yet somehow, Klobuchar was there, Yang was not. I saw many of the Yang gang complaining and arguing this point. The only one I really didn't see make a big stink about it was Andrew. He didn't say that much, and I really wish he would have. I think that's one thing that we need to see a little bit more out of him. He is kind of the happy soldier, and he's ready to, do his best. But in times of turmoil, in times of revolution, we don't need a happy guy all the time. We need a guy who's going to show he's going to be angry, he's going to address our problem, and he's going to be motivated by that anger and that disgust in the system. And we need a little bit more of that from Yang. But seriously, it's good that he will be back. Um, I can't say enough about the debates when he's there opposed to when he's not. I do, by the way, want to make this note as well. Funny how he qualifies for New Hampshire when he wasn't in the debates in January. And yet they put so much, precipice of the importance of the debates. And like one guy didn't even go there and he raised it in the polls. It's kind of funny. Um, Anyway, before I start doing this episode, old no votes Mitch was in the news because kind of a pre-vote poll that he did in a closed-door meeting this evening, he discovered that he does not have the support and the votes to block witnesses from coming in on the impeachment case. Um, and that does come from a reliable source inside the Beltway who happened to be in that closed-door meeting. This is... What does that mean? It means get ready for maybe months more of this impeachment trial stuff. Maybe. Okay? That's if he doesn't actually get the votes. Let's look at... He's got to get four GOP senators. I think he can. I don't think that's going to be something that's insurmountable. It is funny because we were talking about this yesterday, and the Democrats did put it to a vote. And just like we were saying, there's a lot of senators who are seeing a lot of cracks in the armor, and they realize they got to start thinking about them. The Trump train is bogging down, and who knows? Like it could, if it takes a left, it could crash. If it takes a right, it could surge, and it's a close call right now. And they're just thinking about themselves. And you could always, say, look, I wanted the information, I wanted the witnesses, and you might be able to get out of the wrath that is the Trump supporter. On the other hand, if you say no and you block the witnesses, you're not going to get out of the wrath of the other supporter or the non-Trump conservative. So I think it's a kind of a smart choice. I mean, if I was a Republican senator, I would definitely vote to allow witnesses. If I am a person who is not in the Senate and has to watch these things, I would vote to block the witnesses because, my God, I am sick of these of the um, impeachment trial. Look, it's important and it sets precedent. It does. I don't talk about that enough. It really, really is important because the next president we have, rather it be President Yang, President Sanders, will probably be a pretty morally just individual and do what they need to do. If it's one of those, by the way. But if it's any other, if it's, God, what if it would be like President McConnell? I mean, do you understand the implications that this presidency with Trump has set forth? For you conservatives out there who listen to me, understand that Trump's actions, if you truly, truly believe that they are noble and without sin, so to speak, compare it to Benghazi. Trump's had 3 Benghazis, by the way. But just compare it to something small like that. And now put Joe Biden, Elizabeth, Rachel Dolezal Warren. Put someone like that who's easily corruptible and who has only corporate motivation. And now you tell them, hey, look, you can hold aid that representatives have voted for. You can make, backdoor deals with other countries. We found out one thing that was really interesting today is the phone call with Erdogan when Trump pulled all the troops out from Syria and allowed Turkey to go through there could have been because of a financial deal that they had. The ZTE deal that we talk about in China. If you don't know that, look it up. It's very disgusting. The ZTE deal was signed off right after Ivanka Trump got her trademarks. Now, imagine if you're a Republican right now, Hillary Clinton having that power. And it's okay because we're setting precedent. We're saying it's okay for our presidents to do that right now. And that's why the impeachment trial is very important. But I mean, long story short, if I go by my gut on this one, I don't think it's going to be an issue for no votes Mitch to get the votes, but I don't know. It's hard to say. He might be able to. He might lose them. I mean, and we might have a long process, a long trial. There's more reasons than that. Like the other reasons why I really hope that they do block it is because I think if we have this long impeachment trial, the people that it hurts is someone like Bernie Sanders. And yes, Bernie Sanders is, I think he's a one in a lifetime candidate, and he's worth it for me to let Trump get away with this. If that means in November, Sanders has a really good shot at winning. And better yet, is doing a better job at being able to defend himself from the DNC. Because he's one of the very few that's going to be stuck in the Beltway in DC during these impeachment hearings. The rest of them, aside from Warren, will be out promoting and campaigning, be no problem for them. But I don't know. That's a selfish thing. It's a weird trade-off, is what I'm saying. And I think that Sanders is worth it, but again, that's a very very odd trade-off that is not uh, it's not guaranteed. And I do think on the flip side of that, it is important that we say that what Trump is doing is illegal and he should be punished for it. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't think it's going to be much of an issue. I think for you know the liberals and Democrats listening to this, it's a Susan Collins situation, and we know how Susan Collins always votes. It looks like it's going to be tense and pressure to come down to the last minute, and then always goes Republican. I figure this is the same way it's going to go. Anyway, guys, thanks a lot for listening. I'd love to hear your thoughts, your opinions on anything. If you are one of the gang, um, let me know how you feel now that he's back and that he will be a contender in New Hampshire. How do you think he's going to do moving forward? What's the policies that you most agree with? Which ones that you don't agree with? Anyway, and I would love to hear your thoughts on the impeachment as well. That for me has been so tedious, but it is important. It's like algebra for me. Anyway, thanks a lot, guys. Have a good evening.